So I guess we are on. Right. Like this. Alright. So, of course, we'll peace everybody. We'll let YouTube do what it do. We'll let it reach out and touch somebody. Well, we kind of see here and want to wait. And so your mic is good, Lady V. Uh-oh. Oh, you're still there. Okay.
Yeah, I was sharing. I was
Okay.
sharing.
Oh, perfect. And then we got you. So I sound good. I think we're good. Well, wait about a minute or so. Let it warm up. So, so now, how was your day? Look, because you.
Let me, let me come back. I was sharing. Okay, go ahead. How was
No,
my day?
well, go ahead and share. Go ahead and share. Go ahead and
Okay.
share.
All right, give me 1 second.
So we got Tara, greetings, peace, peace. Got someone else on there. Okay.
Hey there, 64. Okay.
All right. So I'll go ahead and start doing the intro. So, peace, everybody that's chiming in on the Soul to Soul Conversations. We're about to have a soul to soul dialogue with, I always refer to as Lady Veronica. So but she has several different names. Um, this is going to be an interesting night because we're going to tap into, first of all, a mature adult, spiritual, metaphysical, esoteric, nerd, uh, self-evaluative uh, exploration into the process behind re-engineering our life path. Um, all of us, if someone hasn't had to go through that yet, you will if you live long enough. But
Mhm.
so I think this is great, and I think you're a great person to speak to this because there's some things you expressed. I was like, oh, this is good. This is a perfect time. Actually, the month of May and actually June is actually a time of really trying to recalibrate to adjust. Um, Pluto in retrograde. So there's a lot going on right now, anyways, to
Mhm.
look at and reconfigure and see, what is my life mirroring and what's mirroring back to me. Am I aligned? Am I misaligned? And all that good stuff. So I think you're a great person to just dialogue with that. Um, I know tonight we might get a little transparent. So let me just say this, Lady Veronica. So first of all, I want to say thank you. Just over the years, we know each other for a couple of years, and just entrusting some things with me. So my goal is not to get personal. You know what I'm saying? So if vulnerable moments come up,
Mhm.
give me a signal, like, okay, we're just getting vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? So I don't,
Okay.
because when we start talking about re-engineering life path, I know it can get touchy. So I want to make sure I'm mindful. So I'm letting you know, just I want to be mindful of that because I know my personal different life pivots and stuff. Some stuff is just very, it can overwhelm you. So if you need a moment and a pause, just like excitori,
Mhm.
this is, what I'm saying. So I want to make sure. So I don't want to push or lead or shift somewhere where you're not able to freely just be able to express. So we see people on. We welcome everybody on here. Let us know what city you on again. I'm with Lady Veronica, and we're going to talk about tonight. Oh, let me set the tone as well too. So if anybody wants to look at this replay, you will have to join our Soul House and become a member. And that link is available in the description. So after this live, if you want to tap back in, you'll have to join the Soul House, or you can go to the after the live, go to my YouTube bio link, and you can kind of join the Soul House and be able to get access not to just this episode, but a variety of different episodes we have. So, but let's go ahead and get into this. So first of all, let's let Lady Veronica. Oh, it's their birthday. What's good? Happy birthday. So
Happy
let's let Lady Veronica just introduce yourself because you do a lot of variety of different things, got a lot of different passions. Talk to us.
Yeah, I have so many different passions and I keep discovering more every year,
Right.
right? So, I am an emotional wellness coach. I'm a fitness professional in the way of a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. I instruct yoga, I practice yoga. I offer feminine wisdom, mentorship, and anything that has to do with nutrition and weight loss. I'm a specialist there. And I am a content creator. I have written a few ebooks now, and I am currently practicing capoeira Angola. So I'm a capoeista too. I'm really excited about that. But in general, yeah, that jinga. I am here to help people live a healthier and a happier life because that's what I'm doing for myself. And so over the years, I continue to refine what that looks like and how that looks. And things of that nature. So thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love that you on. So with all those, so that's see, where can we start, right? That's where can we start? Where can we start?
Mhm.
Because let me let me piggy softly because you was very transparent about this current season that you're in. I think you said like the last over a little over a year and a half. If I'm misquoting you, correct me. Um, in this recognition of re-engineering your life path, what was the thing that triggered that?
Yeah. So I
Or a
think
series of things.
there was a series of things. One, I
Okay.
hit a tough relational patch. That was what really brought me there. But preceding that relational patch, I had received a diagnosis that was earth shattering for me. Right. And it caused me to question everything, to relook at everything, to discover what really was important, what wasn't. I needed to de stress, obviously. And so it caused me to begin to look at the stressors in my life. And one major stressor was that relational rough patch I had hit. Because prior to that, I thought I was fine relationally. We move in, we move out, whatever. It wasn't a big deal. But that patch was super rough. And it it coincided with that diagnosis. So when I reached out to you, I had been looking through your stuff, and we've been connected for years actually, because I think I came into contact with you in 2019, and I would revisit whatever you were offering, and I saw that you had some trainings, and I said, I need mentorship. There's a limitation naturally that we have when we're trying to go deeper within ourselves. And I know that and knew it back then. And so I said, I need somebody that's really going to take me to my depths and not hold any punches. And so that's when I reached out to you and I said, I need mentorship. Like, I don't know what you got, but I need it. So that's what
Okay.
initially drew me to you. You want
Okay.
me to continue? Or you okay?
Well, you go ahead. Go ahead. Continue. I'm gonna flow off of you because look, I know you got a voice, so I want you to just feel free to. Because you was talking about that stress and that relationship patch. So I think everybody, everyone will listen. Like, okay, you share the details you want to share, and I'll flow from
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
You know.
So I didn't know what to expect from mentorship with you. I just knew that it was going to be useful. So what you did was right off the back is you introduced me to living soul numerology is what I remember first. And I'm sure there were other things that came before that, but that really caught my eye because I had been into astrology before and cosmology before, but not number one, it wasn't practical enough for me to apply it the way that I wanted to. I had an understanding. Um, but I didn't know how to work with that in astrological or cosmological terms. You know the word. So when you gave a living soul information to me, all of a sudden the world just changed. You gave me this report, number one, and I remember reading the attraction matrix, thinking to myself, I'm choosing the exact opposite of what this is saying is good for me. That was the first moment, like, And then when you started, you allowed me to come into the Living Soul numerology group, listening to the others talk about the numbers and such, I began to get real interested. Like, what is this sevens y'all keep saying? Because they would say, oh, that's your sevens talking. Oh, that's a seven. I'm like, what are you saying? So when I started learning about my code, my natural code, that was another moment of I knew I was like this, but I didn't really know why. And I didn't understand it. I thought it was a problem, but I'm seeing that it's not. And there are different parts of myself I can relate from. One time you said to me, you have a lot of metal. So when you're communicating, you need to communicate from your earth. And I was like, oh, I actually do feel that earth in me, but the metal comes up so quickly. So it helped me to become more self-aware. And I'm gonna stop right there because I could go all over the place with this. But those were the two big points. The attraction matrix, I'm choosing the opposite, my own numerology, my own code, the energy beneath my conditioning and what I know about myself. I began to see it's important to know how my energy moves and under what circumstances will it shift and where does the shadow come in and what is my love style and what how do I relate mostly, like all these things I never knew, but it all made sense when I started reading about it. So that's the starting off point. Before that, I think was it 2024 when you came out with Soul Rights? What year was that?
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I read that book while I was in that relational patch, and I was just like, a bunch of these different rights are not present in this connection. Okay. And then I picked up the law of redundancy and I was just like, oh, it's a lot of redundancy in this connection. And also, it's redundancy in my code, also, which extends to astrology too, because there's redundancy there in Aquarius. So I just said, I need to stop.
Uh,
I need to I really need to take a step back and look at what I'm doing because my life, I'm pretty aware, right? And pretty conscious, but there's always more and there's always deeper. And this was the deeper I had longed for. Um, so then I started noticing the relational patterns, and I'll just bring this all together. There were two individuals in my life who I was having the exact same interaction and experience with. And, I know enough to ask myself, what is this reflecting about me? And I was coming up with some things, but none of those things was enough to cause me to stop for real. Cause I kept thinking, well, I could do this, well, I could do that. So a pivotal moment for me was there was someone I came into a coaching session with, and you were like you were being in rare form that day, and I didn't really understand what was going on, but I knew it was strategic, so I'm just kind of sitting back watching. And so you asked us this question, do you think you have communication problems or something? And we like, not right now. And the way that coaching session ended up, I was sitting back like, whoa, this is what he was saying. Oh, and I had all kind of light bulb moments, and it was after that that I just sat down and I said, I need to look at myself. I need this for myself. I don't need this to fix my relationship. I don't need this to help me choose the right partner. I need this because knowing myself, right, is going to naturally help me create the life and the relationships that I desire. And it's not a cliche, it's really true. It all starts with you, but the depth of you, because some people go into the selfishness of I want
Yeah,
this and I want this, but then there's still these proclivities and all that in the undercurrent that you can't get to because you don't know, right? So
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is nice. I'm laughing because I'm thinking back at those moments. So you mentioned about the soul code. So let's let everybody know what your soul codes are. So your four primary numbers are 2777, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And and you mentioned about the attraction matrix. And so I'll give basically the code for your attraction matrix is 9555,
Mhm,
right? And
mhm,
so everybody's checking in. We're not gonna go too much if y'all been following me, but anyway, so right off the rip, Veronica in her soul code, she has a lot of masculine energy and she has feminine energy. It's very sensual. But what's interesting is her masculine and feminine are dominant. They have dominant positions. Um, and it's very strong in her chart and score to the point where she actually, even though she it has dominance, she can shift over into submissive as well too because of the way the whole dynamics and the nuance of her numbers. And so when we look at her soul elements, and a lot of y'all already hear me talk a lot about soul elements. The soul elements in Veronica's soul profile chart, um, she has like a lot of earth wood, so she scores like 5 there. Um, not that much water, a lot of metal, like we said, 5, and then no air, but also a nice amount of fire. So Veronica's basically her triad elements that's dominant is the earth, wood, metal, and the fire. And so a lot of your emotional expression, emotional connection really comes from your earthwood.
mhm,
And and sometimes I think we all talk about that. You was in different group discussions, and people's like, "Oh well, I'm not emotionless." No, we're not saying that. We're just showing that you're not. You're more that nurturing, more of that safeguarding, more of that making you feel at home. That's what people get from, you know what I'm saying? And that's a magnet,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
That's a high magnet. You're a highly magnet and you got a lot of fire. So there's a strong draw and you got that dominant sensual number as well too, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
so there's a magnetism to you. And I know everybody's looking at it. So and this, I would like to make mention because I hear everybody doing this generic interpretation about we forcing the woman into her masculine and stuff like that. So let me just be clear. You can tell that Veronica is a woman. She looks like a woman, but she has a lot of masculine energy. So Veron, talk to us about that because I want because there's a lot. I don't know. For some reason I mingle with a lot of women, and they women, and they got a lot of masculine energy, but they women. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So can you speak to that? Someone who embodies that in connection, because I know you for years. You know that you're into expression, yourself, and just talk talk about that because I think there's some women that kind of can connect, and maybe
Mhm.
you maybe can kind of speak to them about that. A woman that is a woman, but I do have
Mhm.
masculine energy and how that operates and what you see and recognize with that.
Yeah, yeah. So what I've always appreciated about coaching with you is I never felt less than, like I needed to be prim and proper and just be the lady and let the man talk and let him be a man. And I didn't have to do that. And that was so refreshing because I got tired of my life. Let that man be a man. You're not letting that man be. How am I letting, how can I let him not? I mean, how can he not be a man? This is my thought process because I'm very logical, right? So my masculine energy shows up in my goal drivenness, right? I'm very goal driven. I'm very independent. I'm a self-starter. What I put my mind to, I'm gonna do it. And I'm very logical. So when I'm communicating, things don't really hit my emotions first. They hit my logic first. That means I
Yeah,
can listen, I can strategize, we can brainstorm, and we can go, hey, that's working, that's not, or whatever. So when I'm working with men, I work really well with men. Um, I'm not a person who wells up with emotions and cries and sobs and goes in an irrational vein and things like that. So my masculine energy shows up in my logic, in my drivenness, in my initiation. That's one of the things I learned through the living soul. I initiate things, right? And that doesn't mean
right.
I'm trying to control. It doesn't mean I'm
Yeah,
trying to dominate or take over, because I very well know how to, as you said, be in a submissive role. And usually that works when there's a secure masculine energy around me. Then I can sit back. I don't have to think. I don't have to strategize, because he's doing that. Now I can support that, and that's natural. And he doesn't feel put off by my dominance. In fact, it's an attractive thing to him, because one of the things you talked about before, the PPPs, right, of masculine or men. I don't know if it was for men, but I related to that, right?
yeah,
So the purpose, the portfolio, the peace, and the legacy, PPPL.
right. Yeah,
And I relate to your masculine teachings, like any right brother, wrong woman, like all of those. I relate to those. I remember asking you one time, like, why is it that when you talk about men, I relate because I feel like this. And it's the masculine energy. So I learned through Living Soul, my dominance and my masculine energy is a gift, but also it's not overpowering my femininity and my ability to rest, relax, and be in some yin energy also. But there are some situations where it could get out of balance too, and very rarely am I out of balance submissively. It may be me getting out of balance and dominance. Well, that's all the sevens and the dominance and the masculine
yeah,
energy. So there's nothing wrong with that, was the biggest lesson that I got. In fact, it's a gift. And I appreciated that so much, because
yeah,
growing up, I heard just different things about you just want to do what you want to do, you headstrong, you're not going to get this, you this, you that. And it's kind of like you raised me on this, right, to be independent, but at the same time I'm not supposed to have an opinion, and I'm supposed to take a seat and go sit down with the women. And that's not who I am. I kind of push against the grain a little bit, not because I want to be rebellious, but because truth is important to me. Logic is important to me. And I found when dealing with women, because on the dating side, that was a whole different world. See, with men, relationally, there was no confusion in who's the man and who's the woman, who's more masculine. I'm not in competition with men, right? But when I started dating women, I noticed that there was this toxic masculinity that was coming in, this competitiveness, who's the
mm,
dominant one and who's not. And because I look feminine, then I must be the submissive one. And that took I could talk for hours on that, but masculine energy and dominance in me is a gift. And I've learned over time how to balance it and how to feel within, whether I need to be in that earthwood, that feminine
mm.
essence, the submissive, or is it time for me to rise up? And I have no problem sitting down and letting someone else leave. I love to learn, I love to be taught. So yeah.
So in the balancing, you say you learn how to balance. What were some of the things that you figured out, I guess, within inside yourself on when to, I guess I hate to say switch. I'll say I like to use the word interplay to flow into the different dynamic to balance that level of assertiveness and that level of initiating that's just
Mhm.
natural to you. Well, I guess what are the things that is there like certain prompts that you have inside yourself to recognize, or there's certain cues that you pay attention to that let you signal to yourself, okay, let me adjust here. What
Yeah.
have you uncovered?
Yeah. So when you said to me, you're going to have to learn how to relate through your earthwood, and you were very affirming with that, right? You said you have a feminine energy, right? So you don't have a problem submitting. And I was like, that's true. That's true. So when I feel my assertiveness and my dominance rising up, I can feel it now. It feels like metal, right? And so when I feel my metal rising up and wanting truth and logic and wanting to go for it, it's like you can breathe, you could calm down. It's not really
Ah,
that important. And the word that I learned was neutrality, right?
yeah,
Take
yeah,
a neutral position. You don't have to polarize all the time.
mm,
You can come and
yeah,
listen. And one time I was watching you in one of the group sessions that we had, and people were talking, and I watched you sit back and you just let them say whatever they were saying, and then you came back with the truth. And then they said what they were saying, and you came back with the truth. And I watched that because I realized that I needed some divine masculine energy to help me with my masculine energy because a
yeah.
lot of times masculine energy will overtalk and override and assert I'm alpha. And I knew I didn't want to be like that. And I have all this masculine energy. And then I watched you interact with people. I listened to what be quiet and when to speak and how much and I was just like, okay, he's masterful. I like that. I want to incorporate some of that. So neutrality has been my practice every day,
Mm,
all day, in every situation. I feel that polarizing happens and it happens less and less, right? But it's
mm,
still there because it's in my natural codes. I'm guessing that it's going to be there and it's useful when it's needed. But um, I practice neutrality with my children, with my clients on the job. And what neutrality looks like for me is taking a breath, feeling the polarization, and pulling it back down within my body because it's in my body, the polarization. I
mm.
guess that's the sensual part, right? I feel
Yes,
it.
yes.
And so if I breathe and I remind myself, this is fine, you can be in your earthwood. And so it softens me. And then I can go, oh, yeah, no, that makes sense as opposed to
Mhm.
no, that's not so that's how I come down into my earthwood for
Okay, I
balance.
like that was powerful. I actually felt when you saying that, I was actually feeling that with what you're
Hmm.
saying, just their earth would be able to draw it. I could tell you channel that. So when we're talking about this pivot in this um, you re-engineering, you said it kind of from the stressor and some of the different things going in the relationship. Do you think well, so you're talking about neutrality right now, so we'll stay on neutrality. Did that kind of help out in the transition with that rough patch relationship that you was dealing with? Was it neutrality she was drawing from, or was it some other things you was drawing from? So I guess in the shifting or in the reorganizing, where was you pulling from?
Hmm. Hmm. So I had to, yes, go into neutrality and be more observant because my metal makes me get involved and I want to talk.
Okay.
And so I began to settle down and from a neutral point of view, look at dynamics. What is interacting here? So, one of the things I learned is about self erasure, right? I wasn't aware of that before.
Yeah.
But some people have a tendency to self erase around me
Yeah.
because my energy is whatever it is to them and they want it. And so they'll start compromising themselves. I'm not even asking for them to compromise, but they will begin
Yes.
compromising and saying, well, I'll do this and I'll do that. But becoming resentful at the same time and then saying I controlled them. And I needed to understand what that was, right? So it was during a
Yeah.
coaching session that you pointed that out. And from then on, I was noticing self-erasure, the different ways people would go invisible, right? Just to be in my presence. So and it showed me how some people you talk about this a lot in your posts and your teachings, how some people want the energy, but they don't want you. They don't even really like you, right? But they want the energy so much that they're willing to become small for it. But then it creates problems. And up
Yeah.
until then, I didn't get that. I thought I liked
Mm.
attention, right? Because one of the things that you helped me understand also was about optics. Like I didn't realize that because I'm very visual. I guess that's the sensual part. something looks good to me, then it is good in my system, not in my consciousness. I know better in my
Right,
consciousness. But
right,
in my
right.
autopilot, if it looks like a nice picture, then it is a nice picture. So let's go ahead and fit this square peg in the round hole, right? However, you got to do this. No, you're not happy, but that's all right. No, you're not expressing yourself, but we could work with that. No, you're not having the sole right of social stimulation, but you could work with that. And I noticed that I needed to do something about that because I started noticing myself. It became less about the other people and what they were doing, but what mechanism in me is choosing this and thinking this is good, you know? So um the re-engineering had to do with me learning all these different dynamics within my own soul. Didn't know it was there. you know. I think your screen is frozen. If you can hear me, I can't hear you. Can y'all still hear me in the chat? Okay, I think he went away for a second. So I'm not too familiar with YouTube. I don't know if he'll come back.